Some of you might have heard the term white space being used in a marketing context before. So I'm going to explain what white space is and kind of illustrate it by using an example. So let's say that in your town, we're just going to talk about the restaurant industry in your town. So this restaurant industry, we can think about a few different ways to break it up. But let's break it up like this. Let's break it up and let's say that we've got food in terms of all the restaurants in your town. We've got some that taste good. We'll think of a continuum here. So restaurants that taste good, and then some at the bottom that you think taste bad, or that people in general think taste bad, and they're probably going to go out of business. So we've got restaurants that taste good, and then on down to restaurants that taste bad. Now, we can also think about restaurants in terms of how healthy the food is. So let's say we've got unhealthy food, and then over here we've got healthy food. Now we can use this XY plane to kind of map out where some of the restaurants are. So for example, we might be able to say that there's some fast food places which are very unhealthy. They're on the unhealthy side of the continuum, but they also they taste somewhat good. It's not entirely bad food. So we've got some fast food restaurants over here. So I'll just label that fast food. And then we've also got still somewhat unhealthy, but not as unhealthy as fast food. We've got kind of like fancy restaurants. So fancy restaurants, which are they taste better than fast food, and they're not quite as unhealthy, and they're up here. So they taste better. So now we can think about, definitely there are going to be some restaurants that probably aren't going to last very long. But we can all think of some restaurants that are fast food, whatever, that are unhealthy, and they also just the food just doesn't taste very good. So we've got some little observations here. I'm not going to name any names, but I'm sure you can think of some unhealthy bad food. So now we can think, okay, well, are there any healthy options? And maybe in your town there's some kind of organic restaurant or something that opened up, but maybe people think that the food there just doesn't taste very good. They think it's healthy, and you've got one or two or three places like that. People think, oh, it's not very good, but it is healthy, and so maybe some people go there. But maybe you notice that as you're evaluating this restaurant industry in your city, that you don't have anything that tastes good and is healthy. There's nothing over here. So, well, what do we call that situation? Well, we say that there's a bunch of white space here. This is white space. Or you could just call it blank space. Because there's nothing here. Now, this is like a marketer's dream, because this is something, when you think about, well, in theory, would someone like something that tastes good and is also healthy? Well, of course. Of course. Well, it's not an easy thing to do necessarily. That's why it hasn't been done, maybe in your town. But this represents an opportunity. So white space is basically screaming at you that here is a chance to jump into a part of the market that nobody else has touched before. So this is what white space is. It's an opportunity in the market that nobody really, no existing firm in your area is really targeting.